Thank you very much to the Little Patuxent Review for accepting my work, for the beautiful issues that you put out every year. A labor of love. I know I'm also, in the little journal world, and I know it's totally a labor of love. Thank you very much. And I think we need to rely more and more on these kinds of publications in these coming years. I certainly will. My story is part of an autofictional collection that I am writing, and it's about my adoption. I am a transracial adoptee from Korea. Without further ado, I will read it. It's quite an emotional story for me, so, hopefully I won't cry. The Origamist. Trailing my sons at their elementary school's spring festival in Nagasaki, I notice a woman wearing a wide-brimmed hat that obscures her face, sitting alone at a table stacked with brightly colored squares of paper. Feeling sorry for her, every other activity station is swamped with kids clamoring for a go. I drag my boys over to her. With hands swaddled in white gloves worn by Japanese women against the sun, she passes us each a sheet of stiff origami paper, and my boys immediately begin to fold them into vibrant, complicated forms, while I struggle to fashion a heart, one of the easiest origami exercises. Soon, my children are ready to race to the next activity, but determined to craft a perfect heart, I ignore their ever more insistent pleas. As I'm crumpling up my first attempt, my husband appears to say a magic show is about to start. I tell him to take the children and I'll join them once I've constructed my damn heart. He replies, jokingly I think, that they'd be back to get me in an hour. After botching my second disastrous attempt at a heart, I reach in frustration for yet another sheet when the origamist grabs my hand. I feel her skin, smooth and swollen as an acorn in some spots, rough and textured in others, and realize she's taken off her gloves. Her touch flashes through my body like a blinding light, atomizing into sorrow, fear, and longing. I look at her face under the shadow of her hat and see that half of it is blighted by welts, one eye a tiny porthole surrounded by erupted flesh. She reaches into the inside of her windbreaker and hands me a fresh sheet of vermilion paper, skin soft and flecked with pulp, still warm from her body. I peer into the woman's good eye, the faded brown of cut bamboo, with a watery sheen in which I can eke out my own reflected silhouette, and what passes between us makes me uncomfortable, invaded, violated. Fearful of the sensations unleashed in my body, I push the paper back at her. With her gnarled driftwood fingers, she directs the square back into my hands, guiding my fingers to fold and shape. With each slow crease we make, I feel a part of me leak into her and her into me. The happy shrieks of the children, the bright spring sun, the smell of churned up dust tinged with the waft of smoke and grease from the grilled meats stand, all fade as my world narrows to a single dark pinpoint. The woman's sorrow finds the gloomy hollows of my own. As she directs me to make another crease, the people, the buildings, the shimmering sunlight disappear under a sky roiling with incinerated ash, the landscape a flattened wasteland punctuated by the occasional stubborn protuberance of the corner of a building or a denuded tree, the stink of rendered flesh singeing my nostrils. From the eerie silence rises a thin sobbing. Crouching among the rubble is a small child. At first I think she is wearing rags, but then I see it is her skin hanging in curled strips from her tiny frame. She is keeping watch over something, a hollowed out husk of a person, carbonized like a spent piece of coal. And because I am a conduit for her memories and emotions, I know it is her mother, who died shielding her from the apocalyptic rage of the atomic bomb. Under her guidance, we fold the paper again. The air whooshes and my ears pop, and now she is the conduit for me, and I show her my own enduring sorrow. And it surprises me, because up until that very moment, I didn't know the source of the ache that had filled my life, oozing out at random moments, poisoning happiness at its very source. We add another crease, the delicate paper pliable under my trembling fingertips. Darkness enshrouds me. Blinking to shed the scales of blindness from my eyes, I see a shuddering form huddled on a floor of rough wooden planks. A face rises, upturned to the heavens, wide flaring eyes, mouth agape, a tortured wraith that reminds me of Goya's painting of Saturn at his unholy repast. It is, of course, my mother, and she picks me up from where I am nestled on her lap and crushes me to her chest, where I can feel her heart banging like a wild animal in a steel cage, my cheek rough against her homespun cotton, the oceanic taste of her tears wetting my rooting lips. Unbuttoning her shirt, she offers me her swollen breast, the nipple chapped and blistered and leaking milk. She is feeding me for the last time, but brute that I am, who can only understand my own fundamental needs and wants, I suck and guzzle, suck and guzzle. Another tuck of paper, and I am back again in the schoolyard of my children's elementary school in Nagasaki, clutching the woman's keloid-mapped hands, both of us weeping. We are 2 miles from the atomic bomb hypocenter. Young children in boisterous pursuit of enjoyment romp around us. Newly shed of blossoms, the trees are limbed with tender leaves. The woman folds my hands around the origami heart that together we have fashioned, and I bring her scarred hands to my lips in thanks. When I get home, I will press the heart into the pages of my journal, but in the meantime, I go to my husband and sons. Thank you.